Oh, I can already taste the salt. Manime, how could you possibly love Bakugo? Or Manime, 2 videos in a row about My Hero Academia? Really? I know, but I have something special for next week's video already planned, and I also know that Bakugo doesn't have much screen time this season, so if I want to talk about him, I'd have to do it now. Look, I think I've made it obvious enough. Bakugo is my favorite character in My Hero Academia. Since the beginning of Season 2, I've slowly started appreciating Bakugo more and more, and since then I've made countless videos involving him. However, in each of my videos, I've always talked about him from a more technical side, and never really had a proper chance to delve into what makes Bakugo my favorite character of the show. So today, I really wanted to talk about what makes Bakugo the best boy. First off, we need to talk about Season 1 Bakugo. Season 1 Bakugo is a total ass. I think that much is pretty obvious. He's depicted as this unforgivable piece of crap. He's constantly tormenting Midoriya and even quite graphically tells him to kill himself at one point. Bakugo is a bully. There's no way of getting around it, and to be frank, kids who are that age are generally just that awful. I think that's something we can all attest to since we all attended middle school. Well, I hope most of us did. The point of Season 1 Bakugo is pretty simple. Establish a character who is by all means unredeemable. He's a violent bully who got into UA strictly through villain points. He is by all means your generic cookie cutter character who is going to turn evil at the first opportunity handed to him. But as all of us in the future know, that's not how things develop. Season 2 begins spending more time developing Bakugo as a character. We begin to see more of his backstory. Bakugo is secretly a massive All Might fan as well. We can see that at a young age, Midoriya and Bakugo were actually friends because of this. We begin to understand that Bakugo's unending rage isn't simply unchecked anger. More than anything, it's his fiery passion to be someone as unbeatable as All Might. Bakugo wants to always be challenged and takes every opponent with the utmost seriousness. I mean, my favorite example has to be when he fights Uraraka. When this fight starts, we expect Bakugo to just run up and wipe the floor with her. But surprisingly, he fights defensively against her. He realizes her win condition and fights around it, eventually beating her. Most of the other classmates would have seen her as an easy win, but Bakugo understood that he could still lose and fought incredibly smart. He continues to do this all the way up to the finals against Todoroki, where once again we see him take the fight seriously, whereas Todoroki becomes distracted and loses. Instead of Bakugo being happy he won the tournament, you see how pissed off he is when he feels like he didn't win a clean match. He straight up has to be bound and gagged just to force him to accept the gold medal. Bakugo wants to be the undisputed top dog, akin to All Might, and that's where his passion lies. The problem is, of course, his attitude. We see this best in the final exams arc. Bakugo and Midoriya are forced to work together to try and take down All Might. However, instead of communicating his plans with Midoriya, he just yells at him and starts running towards All Might. Bakugo wants to beat All Might all on his own and struggles to accept the fact that Midoriya is catching up to him. Even All Might lectures him on this, saying that you can't expect someone at level 50 to grow at the same rate as someone at level 1. What's really cool about this is that we get to see that Bakugo is making strides in, well, not being an asshole. We see him basically sacrifice himself so Midoriya can get to the finish line. There's also this other subtext that Bakugo wants to become the very best through his own hard work, and thus having to rely on Midoriya is his first step towards trusting someone. This arc is actually perfectly placed too, because in the very next arc we see Bakugo get kidnapped by the villains. They mistakenly think that all Bakugo wants is power, and that's something they could absolutely give him. However, as we've established, easily obtaining power through unfair methods is definitely not Bakugo's thing. Midoriya. And he rejects them. Bakugo wants to become the very best through his own hard work. I mean, as we see, he's also a top student when it comes to grades as well. Hell, we even see him always being the first to go to bed. Bakugo is just as obsessed with becoming the next #1 hero as Midoriya. But what I love most about his character occurs in Season 3. Season 3, we get a more nuanced look at Bakugo, particularly towards the end of the season. We see Bakugo fail the provisional license exam, being one of 2 to actually not get their license. Seeing Midoriya finally surpass him brings out a new side of Bakugo. Before this fight, Bakugo's voice is cracking and it sounds like he's on the verge of tears. This is because he now believes that Midoriya has truly surpassed him, and in the process, Bakugo feels responsible for putting All Might's career to an end. We see Bakugo truly troubled by this, and he's handling it the only way he knows, challenging Midoriya to a fight. In this fight, he basically spills his guts to Midoriya. He tells him how troubled he is, how it's his fault that All Might can't fight anymore, how he sees himself as weak, and yet through all of this, Bakugo manages to win the fight. This fight is so powerful because it's the first time we see Bakugo open up to someone. We get a first-hand glimpse of just how hard he is on himself, and that is what I love about this character. A lot of previous actions make sense with this context. Bakugo was an asshole because he was projecting his anger at himself onto others, in particular Midoriya. This is actually a surprisingly common thing. My Hero Academia explores the idea that even though this character was supposed to be this unredeemable piece of shit, there's more than what meets the eye. I love Bakugo because often these characters are shipped to just turn evil at a second's notice. Bakugo is the other side of this. He is this character who, despite all surface level details, should be a villain, but he's not. He's this character who has crazy high expectations of himself and those around him. He's extremely passionate, and his fury is deeper than just being angry all the time. Bakugo is a nuanced character with loads of depth and development throughout the series. He feels like a real person. He's flawed, heavily flawed, but at the end of the day, his ideals are strong, and he has what it takes to become a true hero. Thank you guys so much for watching, and a huge thank you to Evanito. I don't know when this video is going to be up, but Evan edited this video for me since I started a new job recently, and I'm really struggling in that whole having time department. So sorry about that, but if you want to help, feel free to join me on Patreon. Google AdSense does not pay well. Speaking of which, a huge thank you to my patrons. You guys are my heroes. If you're interested in seeing how I edit, joining our exclusive Discord, or simply supporting the channel, feel free to join me on Patreon. Make sure you guys share, like, comment, and subscribe. This is Manime Matt. Make sure you guys say man and go watch that goddamned anime.